Hi, I'm Levi. I'm 36. Art director. Divorced. 2 kids. And last Christmas? My entire family tried to crop me and my children out of existence for the sake of a beige dinner aesthetic. It was a Tuesday night when Mom called. She was already in her breathless hostess mode. "We're doing Christmas Eve at our house," she said. "But your brother's bringing his girlfriend. She's very particular. Minimalist. Making content. And, well, he doesn't want your kids there. They'd ruin the perfect image." I stared at the microwave clock, 7:42 p.m., and pictured Theo passed out in dinosaur pajamas on the couch, cocoa smeared across his cheek, and Mia's handmade construction paper chain wrapped around our IKEA bookshelf like it was the crown jewels. "They're just kids," I said. "She's doing a white-on-white tablescape." Mom added, like that was a holy ritual. "Be flexible, Levi." For once. I didn't argue. I just said, "I understand," and hung up. Then I stayed up all night scrolling through old Christmas photos. Blurry wrapping paper. Mismatched socks. That chaotic joy you can't fake. And I realized my job as an art director is to make things look good without lying. This wasn't that. The next morning, my phone buzzed. "Dad, don't take this personally." By noon, they were at my door. All of them. No heads up. Just a knock. Winter coats. Tight faces. My brother Zach in full boyfriend accessory mode, looking like a sponsored post. And his girlfriend? Beige trench coat. Neutral nails. A phone already recording. She stepped forward, smiled flat and bright. "So you're the one who keeps ruining the family brand." She meant it. And I'd only just opened the door. She said it like I was a typo in their curated feed. Like my kids, my loud, brilliant, neon-dress tornadoes, were clutter. I didn't flinch. Just held the door while Theo ran behind me yelling, "Pancakes!" with a spoon in his fist like it was Excalibur. Brooke, the girlfriend, visibly recoiled. Her smile twitched, then froze. Like someone just spilled jam on her mood board. "Let me guess," I said. "You're Brooke?" "Correct," she said crisply. "We're building something thoughtful and clean. The dinner's a partnership opportunity, Levi. Think elevated simplicity." "Think I have a 7-year-old who thinks sprinkles are a food group," I said. "We don't do beige." Zach looked annoyed. "Bro, it's one night. You can drop the kids at their mom's or something. Just come solo. Show support. You want me to leave my kids with their mom, who's in Bali on a yoga retreat she planned after I confirmed I had the kids this week? Good luck with that." Dad stepped in, voice all soft reprimand. "Son, we want you there." "Really? But the table's already planned." "It's expensive. Florals, food stylist. We're just asking you to help a little." "How little?" 2,000. Mom said like she was announcing a weather update. It'd take the pressure off. Photographer, food, maybe a little stipend for Brooke's editor. You've always been generous. I stared at her. You want me to fund the Christmas I'm uninvited from? The one where my kids are banned because they're too real? It's not like that, Zach said, already pulling out his phone. "We'll tag you. Exposure's exposure." Then Mia peeked around the corner, wearing a unicorn hoodie with a jelly stain that had become part of its DNA. "Daddy, where's my sparkle syrup?" Brooke's nostrils flared. Like the word sparkle offended her sense of color grading. "I'll be right there, honey," I said, then turned back to the porch committee. "You want me there without the kids? You want my money, but not my family? Let me think." Mom smiled tightly. "We need a decision by 3. I closed the door. Inside, the house smelled like cocoa and chaos. Paper snowflakes fluttered from the ceiling vents. Theo was constructing what he called a Christmas dinosaur. Out of banana slices and M&Ms. It was missing limbs. Still perfect. My phone buzzed. Group chat, family immediate. "Mom. Levi, please don't be difficult." "Dad. We need an answer." "Zach. Venmo is fine." "Brooke. Sending inspo." 3 beige squares followed. A white tablecloth. A bowl of bleached pine cones. White candles arranged in what looked like a bone-summoning circle. I opened my camera roll. My receipts folder. It's a little habit I picked up when helping family. Started to feel like being slowly mugged with hugs. $350. Adobe template Zach bought on my business card. $218. Premium stock images for his girlfriend's candle brand. $180 per month. Extra phone lines for mom and dad. Netflix, Hulu, Spotify family. Grocery orders I sent when they forgot to pay their bills. I screenshotted the grid and dropped it in the group chat. Me. Just a reminder. Mom. Tacky. Zach. We said we'd pay you back. Me. You also said that about the Shopify store, the logo I designed, and the photo gear you borrowed. Brooke. Money is leverage over family is not the vibe. I stared at that sentence so long it started vibrating. Then I realized something. She was wrong. Boundaries aren't leverage. They're clarity. I typed. Me. I'm not paying to photograph the absence of my kids. Mom called. I let it ring. Then a text. You're blowing this out of proportion. Be an adult. I was. Finally. I typed a list and stood at the counter while my kids decorated pancakes like pastry anarchists. Removing you from my phone plan end of cycle. Will send PIN. Changing Adobe password. Zach, stop logging in. Streaming accounts sign out. Today. I will not fund events I'm uninvited from. If anyone tries to charge my business card again, I will file a fraud report. I hit send. 3 dots. Then Dad. This is hostile. Zach. It's just $2,000. Mom. Your children will hear about this. Me. They'll hear I protected them. The doorbell rang. Again. Same formation. All 4. This time tighter. Winter wind gusting around them like a warning. I opened it. Brooke opened her mouth. I held up a hand. Calmly? I'm done. I'm done being the bank. The stylist. The guy who fixes things quietly. You want your white-on-white dinner? Great. You can have it. But not with my money. And not with my silence. And if you ever try to shove my kids out again so you can look cleaner online, guess what? You shut me out too. Zach looked stunned. You're blowing up Christmas over a vibe? No. I said. You blew it up when you made family conditional. Brooke lifted her phone like a crucifix. This is unhinged. Then stop hinging on me. Dad tried the soft knife. Son, think about the bigger picture. I said. And I closed the door. It's wild how loud the silence gets after you hang up on your entire family. Not angry silence. Not guilt-ridden silence. Clean silence. Like after a storm when the power's out and all you can hear is your own breathing. That night, we made pancakes again. Mia oversprinkled hers into a neon explosion. Theo decided cinnamon was too spicy and requested ketchup instead. I vetoed that. We laughed about it for a solid 5 minutes. In the background, my phone pinged like a slot machine gone rogue. Mom. This is cruel. Dad. You owe us a conversation. Zach. Adult men don't act like this. Brooke. Unbelievable. Then texts from unknown numbers. Relatives I hadn't heard from in months. And Lila. Your mother is crying. Uncle Rick. Kids complicate things. You need to be flexible. Cousin Jordan. Maybe tone it down. It's just one dinner. But none of them mentioned Mia or Theo. Not once. The subtext hummed, be smaller so we can feel bigger. At noon the next day, the first consequence hit. But it wasn't mine. Dad. Phones aren't working. Is this you? I hadn't even pulled the plug yet. I called the provider. The rep said an iPhone upgrade had been processed at 3 a.m. on my account, shipped to Zach's apartment. That SIM transfer deactivated Mom's phone. I canceled the order, flagged the fraud, and locked the account with an owner-only changes tag. Group text. Me. Nice try. Attachment. Screenshot of the attempted phone upgrade. Zach. Wow. Petty. Me. Legal. By 4 p.m. Adobe emailed me. New sign-in from unfamiliar device. City? Same as Zach. I clicked sign out of all devices. Changed the password, added two-factor with a physical key. Then sent Zach a separate message. Me. If you need Photoshop, buy it. He replied with a vomiting emoji. At 5:13 p.m. my doorbell rang. Again. I opened it. Just Brooke this time. No ring light. No backup dancers. Just her, in a beige coat and a thin scarf doing nothing against the cold. Her cheeks were pink, lips pressed in that tight influencer-neutral pout. I don't want a scene, she said. Then stop showing up at my door. She glanced past me. Inside, the kids were jumping on the couch while Jingle Bell Rock blared at a volume that would make Santa file a noise complaint. I get it, she said. You're being protective. But you're tanking something big. A brand sent us product for the dinner. We could have turned this into a series. You don't understand the pressure. I understand, I said. That you think kids with sticky hands ruin aesthetics. They do, she said. Then paused. I didn't mean. You did, I said. But here's the truth, I'm not your problem. You met this family 5 minutes ago. They're very good at spending other people's money and calling it love. If you want that, great. But my kids aren't props you can crop. She flinched. Not a lot. But enough. Then she looked past me again, at the paper chain Mia had taped to the wall, and blinked. You could style the kid day, she said. Later, I mean. Something low-key. We already did. I pointed at the couch, where Mia was wearing leopard leggings, a glitter cape, and Theo's winter hat. She looked like a superhero designed by a sugar cube. Brooke nodded slowly. It's perfect. No, I said. It's theirs. That's better. She swallowed. We won't ask you for anything else. I know. I closed the door. That night, Mia asked me something very small and very devastating. Did we do something wrong? I froze. The kind of freeze where every thought in your brain hits a wall. Grandma said we're a lot, she added, curling into herself like a crumpled napkin. I sat down on the floor so our eyes were level. You were loud. And silly. And brilliant. And not for anyone's brand. Someone made a grown-up choice that wasn't kind. That's on them. She looked at me for a long second. Then nodded. And crawled into my lap. Theo noticed the hug from across the room and full-body launched himself onto both of us like a lizard on a mission. We became a kid pile. A fortress. A soft, loud rebellion. And in that moment, I made a rule deep in my bones. The second someone makes my kids think their bigness is a flaw, we're done with that someone. Far away, at the white-on-white dinner, Mom posted a story of candlelight and slow-motion silverware. I couldn't watch it. I'd unfollowed her months ago for peace. A cousin DM'd me screenshots anyway. The table looked like a hospital decided to cosplay as Christmas. Zach gave a toast. And there, in the reflection of a soup spoon, no kids. No jelly stains. No unicorn hoodies. Just empty spaces where laughter should have lived. The next day, the money fallout arrived like it always does, late, dramatic, and dressed like a victim. Mom called first thing, voice all martyr. We had to put the catering on our credit card because you wouldn't help. The bank flagged it. We're over the limit. I'm sorry you planned something you couldn't afford, I said. You'll reimburse us for the difference, she replied, like it was obvious. Like that's just what sons do when parents can't math. No. She gasped like I'd slapped a toddler. Your father is very disappointed. Dad got on the line. Zach stepped up. He covered the photographer out of pocket. A text from Zach dropped in mid-call. Pay now request, $1,850. Memo, Christmas team support, your share. I laughed. Out loud. I'm not joining your co-op, I said. And I regret every time I paused my life to fix yours. They hung up. And for once it felt fine. By noon, Mom's friend, the one who treats Facebook like a courtroom and vague posts like subpoenas, had updated her status to. Some children forget who raised them. But God sees. The comments lit up with passive-aggressive scripture and lemon emojis, which I think was supposed to mean bitterness. Or maybe just poor image compression. A cousin DM'd me again. You okay? People are wild. Also, Zach tried to borrow your camera, and when I said no, he said you owe him for the brand work you did for free. He said he's invested in your career. I sent her a single skull emoji and moved on. At 3, there was another knock. Not Brooke. Not my parents. Aunt Linda. The family's designated rebel. The only one who once said, maybe therapy, at a reunion and got uninvited for 2 years. She stood on my porch with a tray of gingerbread and a bag of glow sticks like she was smuggling joy under the radar. I told your mother she was out of line, she said, stepping inside without ceremony. She said you were cruel. I said you were right. She handed Mia the gingerbread and gave Theo the glow sticks, instantly making his entire day. She stayed for an hour. Didn't try to fix anything. Didn't play messenger. Just listened. When she left, I stood on the porch a while, watching her car drive away through the frost, and realized something rare and strange. I felt light. Not happy. Not victorious. But unhooked. That night I got practical. Moved my business account to a different bank. Cancelled the card Zach had been sneakily using via autofill. Froze my credit. Removed my parents from my phone plan and sent them the transfer pin like I'd promised. Mom, we can't figure this out. Me, screenshot of the carrier's step-by-step guide. Dad, we're old. Me, you're capable. They didn't like that. I took a trash bag and cleaned house. Not emotionally, literally. Every object I'd loaned that never came back or came back wrong. The DSLR Zach borrowed for Brooks' lifestyle shoot. The spare iPad I'd let Dad use. Just for reading. The ring light Brooke forgot after brunch. I packed it all up and drove to their house. Left the bag on the porch with a note. Returning your stuff. Please return my piece. A neighbor saw me and waved. Merry Christmas, he said. Working on it, I said. That night, the kids slept curled together in one bed because they said it felt safer. I let them. I sat on the couch, opened my laptop, and made a private folder called Evidence. Not because I planned to go to war. Because clarity beats gaslighting. Screenshots of charges. Texts. Venmo requests. The perfect image group chat. The $218 template bundle. The iPhone order. Brooks. Leverage isn't the vibe. Message. All in one place. And suddenly, no, I wasn't imagining the pattern. On Christmas morning, Mia whisper screamed at 6:03 a.m. Snow! It wasn't sticking. Just wet and patchy. But we ran outside anyway. Boots over pajamas, Theo licking snowflakes off the mailbox and declaring them minty. We came in dripping and breathless. I made cinnamon rolls from a can. They came out lopsided and perfect. We opened presents slowly. No camera setup. No content plan. I took 2 photos, for me, and only one was in focus. At noon, one final text from Brooke. For the record, I didn't know about the money asks. That's not my lane. I'm sorry about the brand comment. I said something unkind because I panicked about being liked. I'm rethinking some things. I typed 3 drafts. Deleted them all. Landed on. Good. That was it. January came in gray and quiet. That's what it does where we live. Like a pause button on light. The trees become silhouettes, and everything feels waiting. But I didn't feel hollow. I felt cleared. I kept 2 things from December. A clean calendar. And a clean conscience. Mom tried again. First week of January. Sunday dinner? To talk this out? Your father misses you. We need to set expectations moving forward. It all read like project management, not care. I replied once. When you're ready to apologize to my kids for making them feel like a problem, we can talk. Not before. Silence. Zach posted a carousel of the Christmas dinner. White on white. Bone white pine cones. Candlelight. Caption. Grinding with my day 100 points folded hands. Comments said. Goals. This is the future. Aesthetic. I scrolled past. Then, a week later, a text from Zach. Brooke and I are taking a break. You happy? I stared at it until the bubble shrank to nothing. Then I flipped my phone face down and built a Lego spaceship with Theo. It looked like a toaster with wings. We named it the Cinnamon Blaster. At work, I stopped staying late to fix other people's mistakes because I realized I'd been rehearsing the same role everywhere. I trained my junior designer instead of redoing her work at midnight. I stopped saying, "No problem," to things that were a problem. My boss asked if I was okay. I said, "I'm good," and meant it. Mia asked me the question kids always save for bedtime, right when your defenses are down and the house is quiet enough for the truth to echo. Are we ever going to Grandma's house again? I didn't flinch. I'd been preparing for this one. We could invite Grandma here, I said. If she wants to apologize. Mia squinted at me the way kids do when they're trying to zoom in on adult motives. Will she? People surprise you, I said. And they did. 2 weeks later, Aunt Linda invited us to her place for hot cocoa. No agenda, she said. Just warmth. We went. Her house had mismatched mugs, a puzzle missing 4 pieces, and a dog that shed like it had stock options and static. It was messy. It was soft. It was a life you could trust. On the drive home, the kids sang off-key like they were auditioning for a musical nobody asked for. It was perfect. And that night, I did something small that felt huge. I opened the cabinet where we keep the bowls and taped up a single sheet of paper. At the top, house rules. But not for them. For me. I don't pay to be treated badly. My kids are not negotiable. No is a complete sentence. Family is a verb. I read it every morning. Not like a threat. Like a prayer. A boundary doesn't protect you from love. It protects love from becoming obligation. A few nights later, my phone buzzed. Dad. Your mother wants to try again. Sunday dinner. Bring the kids. I didn't reply right away. I stood at the counter, reading the paper above the cereal bowls like a checklist. Then I typed. We'll come for an hour. If anyone mentions image or asks for money, we leave. He replied. Fine. No emoji. Which in dad language was basically tears of joy. We went. The house felt different. Not warmer, just adjusted. Like someone had shoved all the sharp edges into closets. Mom had clearly practiced. Sorry. In the mirror. She wore soft colors. No jewelry. Just her hosting apron and the smile of someone trying very hard not to trigger a trap. She knelt to Mia and Theo. I made a mistake, she said. Not. If. Not, but just the sentence. I watched their faces. They forgave her instantly. Because they're kids. And their default setting is open. I let my shoulders drop 1 inch. Zach wasn't there. Mom said he was busy. I didn't ask. We stayed for exactly 1 hour. The cookies were dry. The cocoa was watery. The conversation tiptoed like it was walking on bubble wrap. When Mom started hovering near the topic of family trips and shared budgets, I checked the time. 59 minutes. I stood up. We're heading out, I said. No scene. No speech. Just the line. The kids put on their jackets. Mia pocketed a candy cane. Theo forgot his left boot, remembered it, then carried it out like a pet. In the car, Mia asked what the moral of Christmas was this year. She asks it about everything. Like life's a fable and I'm old man owl with the final line. I tucked her in and sat on the edge of her bed, thinking. About candlesticks. About Venmo requests. About a paper chain still taped to our wall, crooked and beautiful. The moral, I said slowly, is that love isn't a filter. It's messy. Loud. Real. It doesn't ask you to shrink. She nodded like this was obvious. And we're keeping our paper chain up until March, she declared. Deal, I said. I turned off the light. The house hummed. Not perfect. Ours. I stood in the hallway a moment longer and let the silence settle, not the brittle kind that comes from avoidance, but the deep, steady kind that says, You're home. Then I walked to the kitchen, opened the cabinet, and read the list again. Not to remind myself what I'd lost. to remind myself what I'd kept. I don't pay to be treated badly. My kids are not negotiable. No is a complete sentence. Family is a verb. Because in this house, we don't do beige. We do banana dinosaurs and sparkle syrup and 3-pattern outfits. We do mess. We do real. You'd think that after the apology dinner, a full 60 minutes of strategic peacekeeping and sugarless cookies, things would quiet down. But my family doesn't do quiet. They do sequels. Revisions. Attempts at reshoots with a better script. 2 days later, Mom sent a text. So glad we're reconnecting. We were thinking about planning something bigger for next year. Maybe a family trip? Then another. We'd love your input on the budget. You're so good with numbers. Followed by a spreadsheet. Color-coded. A line item titled, Levi Contribution, EST TBD. I stared at it for a while. Like it was a threat disguised as a Google document. Then I replied, We're not there yet. She responded with a thumbs-up emoji and a note. Just dreaming. Sure. 2 days after that, Zach texted out of nowhere. First time since the Brook is on pause bomb. Need to grab my camera from your place. I reminded him it wasn't his camera. It was mine. And he'd returned it, remember? In the trash bag of closure. He doubled down. You said we could split it if I helped shoot the Shopify stuff. I sent him a photo of the contract I never signed and the credit card charges he did sign, illegally. He left me on read. That week, I noticed something strange in my Adobe account. A new device had tried to log in at 2:14 a.m., again from a location that screamed Zach's Wi-Fi. I was done playing digital whack-a-mole. I changed the password again, turned on physical 2FA, then sent him one final message. Log in again, and I report it. No emoji. No apology. No reply. But the login attempt stopped. Then came the podcast. Oh yes. Brooke resurfaced, of course she did, on a friend's influencer podcast called The Vibe Files. An hour-long episode titled When Boundaries Become Control, a Content Creator's Christmas Breakdown. I didn't listen to all of it. Just enough. She painted herself as the thoughtful girlfriend caught in a family identity crisis. Someone who only wanted clean lines and clear vibes, but got attacked for wanting harmony. She called me aggressive, financially rigid, emotionally unavailable. My favorite line. I just wanted to celebrate joy in an intentional way. I didn't realize some people think joy is mess. The podcast had 34 listeners. But one of them was my cousin Jordan, who immediately sent me 3 voice memos, a summary, and her review. Bro, she said Theo's pajamas were hostile to her color palette. Hostile to her color palette. That's when I knew I'd done the right thing. Still, it itched. Not because I cared what Brooke thought, but because I'd spent years trying to protect my family's image. Years covering for Zach. Years holding space for Mom's mood swings. Years pretending Dad's guilt trips were just concern. And now they were spinning narratives faster than I could unsubscribe from them. I needed a different kind of closure. So I did what I always do when the noise gets too loud. I designed something. A simple black and white poster. Bold font. Centered. You are not difficult. You are just loud in spaces that want you quiet. I printed 2 copies. One went in a frame over my desk. The other? I folded and taped it inside the kids' closet, behind the jackets. So that every time Mia reached for her unicorn hoodie, she'd see it. And one day, when Theo learned to read more than cereal boxes, he'd see it too. Because it wasn't just my boundary anymore. It was ours. A week later, I got one final message from Brooke. No pleasantries. Just so you know, I never expected you to be the villain. But you made yourself into one. Hope it was worth it. I read it twice. Then replied, I'm not the villain. I'm the editor. I took out what didn't serve the story anymore. Blocked. Deleted. Filed under closure via Canva. Then life. Not dramatic life. Real life. Theo lost his stuffed dinosaur at daycare and cried like someone took his spleen. Mia decided she was now a vegetarian except for chicken nuggets. The snow melted into gray slush, and I stepped in it every morning like a baptism in mediocrity. But every night, when the house got quiet, I'd sit at the table and feel it. Not guilt. Not fear. Not anxiety. Just space. The kind of space that only opens up when you stop contorting yourself to fit in someone else's highlight reel. One night, Mia came into the kitchen holding the printed list from the cabinet. She had underlined one line in purple marker. "No is a complete sentence. Is this for real?" she asked. "Yep," I said. "Even for grown-ups." She smiled, folded the page, and taped it to her bedroom wall, right next to a glitter drawing of a stegosaurus in a tutu. "That's our vibe," she said. And it was. 2 months later, Zach showed up at my door. No warning, no text, just him, standing there with a duffel bag and that. I'm about to say something manipulative. Look he always wears before asking for something expensive. "I just need a place to crash," he said. I stared at him. "Why?" "Lost my apartment." "Why?" "Landlord's a psycho." Brooke left. Business slowed down. "How slow?" He didn't answer. Just glanced past me like he was hoping to see sympathy inside the house. Instead, he saw Theo holding a toy blaster and wearing Mia's tutu like a cape. "Cute," he muttered. "No," I said. "Real." He blinked. "Bro, come on. We're family. You made family conditional, remember? I was trying to build something." He snapped. "A brand. A life. At the cost of mine." He looked like he might argue, but then he just deflated. "Where am I supposed to go?" "I don't know," I said. "But it's not here." His eyes went hard. "You're seriously kicking me when I'm down?" "No," I said. "I'm finally stepping out of the way so you can learn to stand on your own." He left without another word. 10 minutes later, I got a text from Dad. "He's your brother," I replied. "And I'm your son." No reply. But that night, Mia taped another note next to the cabinet list. Her handwriting wobbly, purple crayon. "You don't have to fix everyone." And I didn't. Spring came slow that year. Like it was checking to see if we were ready for something better. We were. The paper chain was still up in March. Mia refused to take it down. Said it was part of the house now. I agreed. It sagged in the middle, curling at the edges. Still perfect. One Sunday, Dad texted again. "Dinner next weekend. Just us. Talk?" I waited 2 days before replying. "Only if it's real. No agendas. No spreadsheets. No staged forgiveness." He wrote back. "Understood." So we went. No decorations. No photographer. Just leftover lasagna and grocery store cookies. The table was cluttered with receipts, bills, a broken reading lamp. Life stuff. Mom didn't wear makeup. She didn't hover. She didn't say, "Image." Once. She pulled Theo into her lap, wiped his mouth with a napkin, and looked at me with something that was almost, not quite, apology. "I was wrong," she said. "I let the wrong voices lead. I let appearances matter more than people. I'm sorry." It came out stiff. But real. I didn't say thank you. Just nodded. That was enough. We stayed 90 minutes. No one asked for money. No one whispered about family expectations. No one looked at Mia's outfit and suggested she tone it down. Progress in small doses. When we left, Mom handed me a Ziploc bag of cookies, dry again, but this time they were ours. Zach didn't show up. I later heard from Aunt Linda that he moved in with a friend and was pitching a new startup that involved motivational hoodies. Fine. Let him build something. I built something too. It wasn't branded or curated or beige. It was loud. It was sticky. It was true. The final thing I did? I updated the list in the cabinet. I added one more line. "I don't pay to be treated badly. My kids are not negotiable." No is a complete sentence. Family is a verb. I am allowed to be the person my kids already think I am. That last one? That's the one I read out loud. Because when you've spent your whole life trying to fit into other people's pictures, it feels like rebellion just to frame your own. And mine? It's not white on white. It's glitter, sprinkles, T-Rex pajamas, and banana dinosaurs. It's messy. It's ours. And finally, it's enough.